thanks for chatting to us. And I guess, I mean, like, this really is that time of the year when we get down to sort of finally tackling that home improvement project that I think it's fair for most of us. We've been putting this off since the previous year, maybe even the year before that, and maybe even the year before that. This is just the time for it, isn't it?
This is absolutely the time. Just like the animals, we're all coming out like bears out of hibernation. And suddenly you just get this inspirational, I think it's kind of a natural feeling to want to improve your home, to improve your nest. And, as soon as you see the daffodils come up, you're like, right, I'm going to do it now. And I think there are numerous reasons for that. But one of the more logical reasons is it's hard to do all the sanding and cutting of wood and getting dust everywhere inside in winter. When it's outside, you can soar away and sand to your heart's content.
And also, there's that sense that during the winter, the house takes a bit of a battering on the outside. We spend more time on the inside. There's a bit more wear and tear, isn't there? And it gets to this point when you think, right, okay, finally, I can get down to fixing these problems that have just built up over the last couple of months.
Yeah, you can see that there's been cracks, and I've got a side return in my house, and it's got like cracks in the roofing. And at the moment, that side is full of buckets of water that have been catching all the drip. But of course, it's been so wet and windy and horrible out there that I've not wanted to go out and fix it in the rain. So all I've been doing is putting buckets there, waiting until the winter's over, and then I'm going to attack it in the spring.
Yeah, our conservatory seems to have a permanent feature of a basin right in the middle of the room to catch some water. But that's the kind of solution that sometimes we come up with. It'll do in the short term. But yeah. I guess that there's maybe three different categories of people we're talking about here. We're talking about people who love DIY. Then there's people who immediately will default to call on the professionals. Then there are perhaps people like myself who don't really have an idea of what they're doing, but will give it a go anyway, and actually sometimes make the situation worse.
Well, there is that, and that's what I do as well. I'll always have a crack at stuff, and I will always make it worse. But then for me, it's almost like a puzzle, quite a dangerous puzzle, actually, because you're using tools and chisels and knives and all sorts of stuff. But I quite like the kind of cryptical kind of... it's like a game show, I suppose, for me. I've got to do it under a certain amount of time, otherwise I lose. And it's very rewarding, though, when you stick with it and you persist and you fight through that period of what you just said about getting it wrong. And then suddenly it clicks and it all looks beautiful. It's so rewarding, and it saves a lot of money as well. But having said all that, Steve, to be totally honest, the best option to get the best finish and to get it done quicker is to pay someone to do it. Those trade are amazing. They really are so skilled. Whenever they come around to my house, I'm like fangirling, going, "Oh my God, it's amazing. How do you do that?" I'm the worst person to work for as trade, because I ask all the questions, and I just want to join in and help do it.
I've just experienced that embarrassment, though, when you get a proper tradesperson over to look at a thing you've had a go at, and they fix it within seconds. But actually, you look at it, that took me hours to break, not to actually fix.
Yeah, no, I've had that. And the other embarrassing situation, right? So I installed a staircase in the house when I first moved in. It had the kind of 1960s, 70s, when you have it almost like cladding up the side instead of the spindles, like solid board. Anyway, so I cut out the newel post, which is the big post at the end of the staircase, and I removed that and I put in new spindles, new banister, everything like that. And I was really pleased with it. I was like, yeah. Anyway, about a year later, I had some carpenters come around to look at another job, and they went, "Oh, who put that staircase in? Oh, you should get your money back." I was like, "Well, that was me."
Well, I'm glad you owned it. That's the thing. That you can. There's part of me would be like, "Oh, that's a shoddy workmanship. Whoever put that up."
Yeah, but I'll never hire Dave again. He was rubbish, wasn't he? Yeah, blame someone else. No. I completely hold my hands up, and I'll make no apology about having to go doing things myself and getting it slightly wrong. Look, my house looks nice enough, but when you look up close, there's so many defaults everywhere, all over it. But I think most houses are the same, aren't they? There's no such thing as a perfect house.
I have yet to experience it myself. But that's the thing. I mean, as you say, there are things that you do yourself. You haven't done them particularly well. It's led to a bit of a disaster, but you have to sort of own it, because we're not alone in this. My biggest disaster is attempting to fix the light switch in the bathroom, which led to an electrical fault. And then the end result, that all the lights in the bathroom fused, which is a problem that they are still broken a year later. And that kind of embarrassment of doing that can lead us to put off a permanent solution, can't it? Where we'll find some kind of temporary, this'll hold in place, when we really should just knuckle down and get stuck into it.
I love the fact, Stephen, that you have by default created your most relaxing bathroom environment, which is to have candlelit baths now, because the blooming lights don't work. So it's worked out quite well in your favour, actually.
It's like one of those kind of Roman bathhouses now. There's real mood to the room. Yeah. Heaven forbid if you drop anything on the floor, you're not going to find it.
Yeah, exactly. Those kind of bathrooms are all over Instagram. People with lovely candlelit bathrooms. So, but I must say, actually, I'll jump in and say, I never touch electrics. I'll never, ever touch electrics, because you have to be certified to do a proper job. And I know these days you've got trip switches, so that, circuit breakers, so that if you do like what you did, it will just trip the switch. By the way, you say after you try to change the faceplate of the light switch, the rest of the light bulb's blue. Did you try putting the trip switch back on?
I have tried everything with it. It's one of those things where it was a very simple problem. I didn't actually need to do half the stuff that I ended up doing, but it just kind of made everything worse. And again, that's an issue that this kind of leads me into, that to get this fixed now, it's going to cost money. And we've all experienced the cost of living crisis to some extent, and making these changes to your house, it can be expensive, can't it? Where you find yourself looking at the items required to sort a problem, or the workmanship that's going to happen to fix that. And sometimes the price can be prohibitive, that it does put you off a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, doing up a house isn't cheap. I'm not going to lie, but there are ways of making improvements yourself, and they will be noticeable improvements, and just make you feel better about the house that you're living in. Obviously, painting is a no-brainer, but preparing your walls first, making them nice and smooth, and giving it a lick of paint, it just changes everything. Doorknobs, change over doorknobs. They're pretty easy to do, You just undo three screws, put a new doorknob on, and, it suddenly changes. Kitchens, you can repaint your kitchen doors and make sure you get the right type of paint, but you just lightly sand down your doors at the moment you got, so that the paint sticks to the surface area, and just repaint and put new knobs on it and new handles on it, and it will just give it a facelift, and it won't cost loads of money. One of the other things that I do a lot, which is upcycling, and recycling, reusing furniture is massive at the moment. In fact, most kind of like fancy interior Instagram accounts, they all feature not new stuff from all these expensive outlets, but reused furniture, because they made dirt furniture beautifully back in the olden days. They really did, and all hand done as well. And you'll see all these, they're like usually stained dark wood, and they're in charity shops, or they're down at your tip where they sell stuff off that people are going to throw out. Do yourself a favor, hire yourself a van from somewhere like Europcar, and they'll deliver it to your house, and then drive it off, pick up the stuff. You get loads of stuff whilst you're there. Drive it all back, store it in your garage so you're not rushed to get it all done. They'll come and pick up the van and take it away again. And then take your time. Do up the furniture. Sand it down. And I've got several bits of furniture in this house now. And I took 3 days doing one chest of drawers, sunk all these new brass handles into it, painted it all up, and it looks beautiful. It looks really, really nice.
Because, like, for me personally, literally just yesterday, my next door neighbour was clearing out a load of old furniture, really, really beautiful old stuff that they just didn't have space for anymore. And this is something that I would never have thought of, actually, that this is, it's given my kitchen a brand new kind of look, because I've got this furniture that's new to me, but it looks great. And actually that idea of secondhand, or pre-loved if you're being really fancy about it, it's something that there's not a stigma about this, whereas there maybe would have been 10, 15, 20 years ago, where you wanted to go for the newest thing. Now we seem to be realizing, as you say, that this stuff is good quality, and actually it's an easy solution to really spruce up your house.
It is much better quality. The stuff that was crafted by craftsmen years ago, the fact that it's still standing and still standing the test of time shows you how well this stuff has been made. But we are kind of conditioned, and quite sadly as well, really sadly, we're conditioned to think that there's some kind of, like you said, some stigma or shame in going to a charity shop and picking up furniture for your home. There is no shame at all. You are saving probably 90% of the cost of buying something, and you're getting some real gratification when you've done it up as well. And you can get everything. You can get kitchen dresses, you can get chests of drawers, you can do up your kids' bedrooms, you can do anything. You can make it. Look, there's really simple things that I did. One of my first upcycling projects was it was for charity, for a charity that provides furniture for furniture poverty, families that literally don't have furniture. And so I took this old pine chest of drawers that was in a charity shop, and I sanded down the top, and then oiled it so it was nice, looked lovely on top. Then I painted it a primary colour around the edges and the drawer fronts. And then I took out the doorknob, the pine doorknob, and I got a piece of Duplo Lego. And I attached a screw into it, and I put it into the hole and put the bolt on the other side. So the handle was a piece of Duplo Lego. And then I filled it full of Duplo Lego inside and sent it off to the charity shop. And just things like that cost me nothing. And it looked absolutely gorgeous. And some kid somewhere would have had that and would be really happy. So, you can do up your kids' room and just let your creativity go wild. It doesn't have to cost money.
Because this is it, isn't it? That there is a sense that when you go with sort of secondhand or upscale furniture, it's something that you can be a bit more creative with. You can make that work with your surroundings. And then ultimately, we've kind of touched upon this, that there's not really, you can't deny the satisfaction that can come from sorting a problem yourself. Never mind all the hurdles and the problems. And as you say, safety is a huge thing when you're doing this. You have to be really careful. But when you tick all the boxes and get it sorted and make something yourself, it's a special feeling.
It really is. Whether you keep it or give it to someone else, it's a wonderful feeling. Also, using scrap bits of wood to remake things. You don't have to get a chest of drawers that's already a chest of drawers. Like, I've been making picnic tables for little kids' picnic tables for my goddaughter, or a bird box out of pallet wood. I made a bird box from a pallet out of pallet wood, which was great. So there's all sorts of projects you can do, and it keeps you busy as well. A lot of people haven't got the time, so that's fine. That's gifted. But if you have got time on your side, enjoy it, and it's something you can do with your family as well.
Don, thank you so much for taking some time to chat to me. As you can tell, I have had a few DIY disasters, but I feel psyched up to actually give it a go now. I feel more confident.
Are you going to do it? Do you remember my golden bit of advice? Measure twice, cut once. That's all. Measure twice, cut once. Once you made that cut, there's no going back.
You're absolutely right. Look, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Cheers, Stephen. Speak soon.
Cheers. All the best now. Good luck. Bye. Bye.